Hey everybody, David Shapiro here with a video. After my video yesterday, I got a few comments about SEO and predictions and stuff like that. And after writing a couple of posts on LinkedIn and Twitter, I realized it's actually the same thing. So let's talk about SEO, generative AI, and we'll ask the question, is SEO toast? Now, before we get started, I want to plug my Patreon real quick. I'm almost to my goals, and if I get to my financial self-support goals, I'll disable ads forever on YouTube. Ad revenue from YouTube is super unreliable. Patreon is way more reliable. So hop on over to my Patreon, patreon.com/Dave Shap. Check out the support tiers. If you want to chat with me, I actually just updated the tiers so that you kind of know what to expect and you know how much is needed and so on and so forth. All right, enough of the plugging. So I posted a couple polls, one on Twitter, one on YouTube, and interestingly, the polls are nearly identical. So I gave three options. One, SEO is toast. Two, SEO is fine. And three, a bit of both. And in both cases, a small minority of people said SEO is fine. A good chunk of people said SEO is toast. And about the same amount said SEO, it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. So let's unpack this. I did some exploration. I'm not an SEO expert, by the way. So this is a naive perception. All right, so what the heck is SEO anyways? If you just clicked on this and you don't know what SEO is, it means search engine optimization. It is the fine art of attracting internet traffic to sell goods and services. It is also part of selling advertisements to potential customers. Now, up until now, how you do this is you optimize web pages to appear, I should have said higher, not hiring, I apologize, in SERPs or search engine result pages. So Google search results, that's what SEO is. And then of course, advertising and keywords and all that stuff is part and parcel with it. This is why you want to do search engine optimization, is to drive traffic to your website to sell a good or a service. That is the profit motive. Obviously, if you are trying to do something else, like for instance, I'm not trying to sell you anything, I'm trying to get you to watch my YouTube channel. So I technically do some search engine optimization with things like titles and thumbnails and content and stuff. So I'm targeting content to attract traffic. So search engine optimization is a very broad thing. Primarily, it is to get eyeballs on your site, whatever it happens to be doing. And so at the end of the day, it's matching user intent or user needs to particular goods and services or other online resources. That's what SEO is. So I talked about matching and recommendations. So some other examples of SEO, it's basically a recommender system. This is what Google did, is you type in a search result and it recommends some pages. Amazon, you type in a search, it recommends some products. YouTube, it recommends videos. Netflix also recommends videos. So you're already familiar with SEO. It's just fundamentally a matchmaking or a recommendation system. Okay, so I wanted to share an example, Lexii.ai. So this is a service that was created by someone who joined my former Discord community, and this is a service where he built a chatbot that is specifically for finding lawyers. And so this is one early example of what if instead of just doing a generic Google search for something, you actually have a chatbot that is specific for locating goods and services. So this is just right off the bat, I want to show you how things are changing. Now, one person pointed out that SEO has always been about bots. You know, if you remember the term web crawler, those were the search bots that would go and spider the whole internet, the World Wide Web, and record what was on those websites to get that information. So web content has always been search engine optimized. It's just now we're optimizing for a different kind of bot. And I thought that was really profound, which is why I dedicated a whole slide to it. It's like, oh, actually nothing changes. Instead of web crawlers, now we have chatbots. Same general principle, just a new iteration of the same thing. So now it's like, okay, well, how do we crawl that and connect web results and web pages and the content of those, whether it's goods, services, videos, whatever? Because imagine you have a chatbot on YouTube, right? Or imagine you have a chatbot in Amazon or a chatbot in Netflix. So this is basically, instead of having to infer user intent, now there's going to be some new changes. So some ideas that I have is rather so what I mean by raw information gathering, that's our behavior. Information foraging, this is what I talked about yesterday in the video about our information landscape is changing. So who cares though? Because, okay, gathering information, general web searches, there's not really a whole lot of money there. Really where the money is, where business makes the most sense, is connecting advertisers, which is to sell goods and services. Chatbots aren't going to replace these providers of goods and services. A chatbot is not going to replace Amazon. If anything, it's going to make Amazon better. A chatbot isn't going to replace Netflix. It's going to make Netflix better. Ditto for YouTube. So for Google, it would behoove them, since they're already good at spidering the whole internet, it would behoove Google to really focus on having a goods and services locating chatbot, right? Because that's the primary, like, why do you hop on Google Maps? Because you're looking for a restaurant or you're looking for something to do for fun. Why do you hop on YouTube? Because you're looking for a video for entertainment. Netflix, Amazon. I think that Google has a prime opportunity to bring all of their services under a single banner, under a single chatbot, no matter what it is that you're trying to find. And then, of course, the advertisers, they'll probably pay per, like, oh, hey, you recommended our restaurant or whatever. Because regardless of whether or not someone is paying for it, it would behoove Google to be the best to do this. Now, one thing that other people talked about, and there are people that know more about SEO than I do, we will need new technologies in marketplaces. The way that one person explained it is instead of getting a push model, we might have more of a pull model, right? Where, like, say for instance, the Lexii chatbot. One of the things that they're trying to work on with that is, okay, you sign up, and so then whenever we match you, you pay us a little bit, rather than you have an active marketing campaign. So it's like switching from active to passive marketing. Maybe, not sure how that's going to play out, but also we're going to need to re-optimize web content. So instead of optimizing it for web crawlers, we're going to need to optimize it for chatbots, which means new APIs, new paradigms around SEO, but SEO is not going anywhere. So as an example to what I mean, like ChatGPT, I asked it, I said, pretend like you're helping me find this stuff. And it said, sure, let's find the best pizza in New York City. Who knows? It probably got some of this stuff from like Google data or whatever. But ideally, rather than being passive and offline, it would give me some real-time recommendations based on, oh, hey, this one's closest to you and it's not busy right now, right? Those kinds of things. Because what would be better than for me, right, saying like, hey, I want Indian food right now, find the closest one that's not busy. That information is available, and a chatbot could be the ideal thing to deliver that information. My sister-in-law went to Disney or Universal, and so she did a lot of data gathering before. So she had a schedule of which parts of the park were emptiest and when. So when they like wanted to go on rides, they're like, okay, we should go over here now. So imagine that you have a chatbot that's connected to all kinds of real-time data saying like, okay, what amusement park is, or what part of the park is best right now, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of possibilities of these chatbots, because then you can really clearly explain what it is that you're looking for and that you want. Another example, picking products, so goods and services. Remember, that's what SEO really comes down to. That's the profit motive of SEO. So whether it's, trying to find a service provider, like find me a mechanic that is reliable, find me a doctor that is reliable, help me find the best bicycle for what it is that I'm trying to do. The quality of information that chatbots are going to provide means that we no longer have to infer user intent. We can get explicit user intent, right? Where the user can tell you exactly what it is that they're looking for and you don't have to guess. Now, that being said, users are notoriously unreliable. People often don't know what they want, and chatbots are also not yet optimized for it. So we have to look at it more like recommendation systems or recommender systems, which are anticipating user needs before the user knows what they need. And this is what really resonated with the video yesterday when I talked about, what if you can anticipate not just the goods and services that someone wants, but what if you can anticipate the information needs that someone has ahead of time? So what if the chatbot is thinking behind the scenes and has a theory of mind and understands who you are and what you need, not just from a goods or services perspective, but able to say, this is the information that you're going to need next. So Google already does this to a certain extent, which is why sometimes the Google search results, like you type in one character and it predicts what your next search query is going to be. And so it knows like what search journey you're on. It knows what information journey you're on. But again, it's very passive. It's not, Google is never going to say, hey, based on your search pattern of the past few days, we think this is something that you want. They try and do that with like the Android phone, but imagine if you have a chatbot that can actively just like ping you, and it will remember like, oh, hey, Dave usually checks me around 10:30 every morning. So instead of me waiting passively, what if the new chatbot says, hey Dave, based on what you were doing yesterday, here's an idea for you. Like maybe make this video. Maybe because obviously the chatbot should know Dave makes YouTube videos, and it can be information foraging for me on my behalf. Now this all sounds very pie in the sky, but what we're basically talking about is a personalized internet. So the idea is that a sufficiently advanced chatbot, not something that's passive, but a cognitive architecture, could be thinking about you and your needs while you're not interacting. So it can be reviewing all the data that it has about you, all your past interactions, and other behaviors, and not only anticipate your the goods and services that you might want, because I am notoriously difficult to sell to. When I want to buy something, I know exactly how to find it and where to get it. I have bought things based on advertising, I think twice in my entire life. I hate advertising. So I am not a good customer. That being said, I do have information needs. So memory of past preferences, there we go. Inferences and anticipations about future needs and behaviors. So if we can go above and beyond purchasing behavior, we can look at more broadly about what the user needs as a human. Now, how does it do this? So this is like the Google's magical ability to predict what you need next. This is based on aggregate user behavior and clustering. So it says, okay, people that search for X, Y, and Z also tend to search for A, B, and C. And it seems magical, but basically it's just tapped into collective wisdom. Same thing, ditto for YouTube video recommendations. It's like, hey, you clicked on one conspiracy theory video, let me show you a bunch of other ones. And it feels magical, but it's just clustering because the recommender system has the benefit of a lot of data. So basically for all this SEO stuff, the underlying technology is already there. We just need to integrate it into chatbots. So here's some examples. This was for my Amazon. So a video a couple days ago on my other channel, I mentioned the orchid and the dandelion. I looked up the book to make sure that I said it right. It's Dr. Thomas Boyce. And then Amazon says, oh, people who look at this also tend to buy these other things. And they're relevant, but Amazon has no idea what these books are about. All it knows is that it has observed clustered purchasing behavior. And so to me, it's like, oh, wow, I didn't even know that I needed that. So it feels magical. It feels like it's anticipating what's going on in my brain. But really what it's doing is it's looking to the past for other things. Same thing for YouTube. Mostly YouTube is just recommending channels that I've watched before. 5 out of 6 of these are channels that I'm subscribed to. This one is really random. I have no idea why it popped up, and it's only got 9 views. It looks like it's talking about gun crime, which is like, I don't really care. So this is YouTube just kind of guessing like, hey, maybe try this new thing. Because every now and then, I think what it figured out is that every now and then I'll click on like completely random channels that have like no views. More often than not, I unsubscribe and block the channel because it's garbage. So anyways, I'd probably do the same with this one. And then same thing for Netflix. Although Netflix, you notice how all of the Netflix recommendations are Netflix originals. So this is where it's like Netflix's recommendation system is actually kind of broken because they're trying to push people to their own content, which usually Netflix's content is okay, but there's also a lot of stuff that's on Netflix that is not their content that I would rather be watching. So I often ignore the top picks for Dave on Netflix because it's like, okay, I see what you're doing. You're just channeling me to your content. So I actually don't trust that recommender system. But anyways, point being is these things, they appear very magical because they are seemingly anticipating my information needs before I know what I need. And so all we need to do is change this a little bit, integrate it into chatbots, and chatbots will feel very magical about their ability to anticipate what we need next. So, in conclusion, rather than thinking that SEO is toast, I actually think SEO is going to be more important than ever and more sophisticated. I really anticipate that understanding user needs and user information behavior, foraging behaviors, I think that that's really going to change. And so yesterday's video, one of the topics that we talked about was information literacy. If we can incorporate information theory into chatbots so that we can anticipate what users believe and why, we can work with them so that because one thing that people are afraid of is that chatbots are going to make people dumber, that they're going to take the critical thinking away from us. But what if we program our chatbots to challenge us, to say, hey, I know that you believe this, but let me show you a little bit of information that might change your way of thinking or that might make you critically engage. I think that if we create sophisticated enough cognitive architectures, then we will get to the point where chatbots actually are not just passive information, servers, that they are active participants in our information literacy and our information foraging behavior. So again, I think that we're going to change from passive to active in a lot of ways. And there's lots of work to do around integration and stuff. And I talk about cognitive architectures a lot because this is my primary area of research. So if you want to join in, check out my GitHub link in the description and join my Raven project, which is a fully fledged cognitive architecture. It is also open source. And one of the purposes of Raven is to be an autonomous cognitive entity that can work with you and for you on your behalf without your intervention. Work in progress. So anyways, also consider jumping over and supporting me on Patreon. I think that's it. Yep. Thanks for watching.